You can create and perform huge projects in a short period of time from scratch by using the same tools and creativeness that God does. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. God simply commanded light to occur, and it did. Now, he could have taken the time to do all the work for years and years, but he did it instantly. Now, it's easy for us to say, but that was God. We cannot do what God does. Maybe not. Consider this. The Bible says that God made us in his image. He gave us dominion and creative ability. Imagine if the only difference in God making the light in a voice command and us making a new business idea is his access to the raw materials. His raw materials were the nuclear forces in the atoms in the universe. He spoke to them and they came together to be light. So one thing I see with entrepreneurs, does this sound familiar? They get an idea to do something, they want to be a world-renowned expert in something, so they buy a 10-week course on how to learn to position as an expert, and they learn that they should make videos and they should get interviewed, so they hire a coach for 3 months to teach them how to get interviewed. Knowledge about how to become a perceived expert in their niche. They've worked 20 hours a week on their dream for 50 weeks, so they've invested 1,000 hours of their time, and they don't have a single interview or video. Maybe they have 2 or 3. But what if they did what God did and they said, I command my expertise to be brought forth into the world, and they did a little mental thought and asked, where on earth are the top 3 experts in my niche? What platform shows them as being number 1? Are they on YouTube? Are they on Spotify? Are they on a social platform? And you find that out. And you say, okay, to be a perceived expert, I just have to beat them on that channel. So they have 1,000 videos. Okay, I'll do 2 videos a day, and in 500 days, I have the same platform outreach as they do. Okay, so once again, you could say, well, what's it going to take to do 2 videos a day? To do it, it's going to take me all day to do it because we've got to have a studio and we have to have all of these pieces. What if we just said, what would it take? Maybe a day of research and then choose a single piece of software, an easy software, buy it, download it, use it. And then simply turn on the recorder. Record 2 videos a day. At the end of 1 year, you have 500 videos. How much closer are you to the goal than if you had studied for 1,000 hours? How much closer would you be to the goal if you would find a way to just get started, flip the switch? Instead, in 2 years, you're the world-perceived expert in your particular topic. It's the same thing with interviews. You want to get interviewed? Ask 1,000 people. If only 5 people say yes, you'll have 5 interviews. So you got 5 interviews. You just snowball it. Get 5 more, get 5 more. This is how God created the earth. He just did it. He didn't study it. He just did it. Once again, he had access to a different set of materials than we do. So you have to work with whatever the materials are that you have. But I believe that because we're created in God's image, with God's abilities, God's creativity, God's logic, etc., we can do things in much the same process that we have, but instead of us operating at nuclear level like God does, we operate with the tools that we have. Right now, I'm operating with the tool that I have. I have a software, I have the computer, I have the recording, and I'm able to upload it. Those are my tools. Those could be your tools. It's what I did in my business getting started. Sure, over time, I bought a lot of courses, but when I got started, I just got started. I did the work, writing 10 or 15 articles a day. Look, I didn't even know if articles would work for me, but I figured that since hundreds of thousands of other people writing articles, this must be working for somebody, or why would so many people be writing articles? All I had to do was become the top producer, so I got started. And then once I had already written articles, I started studying how to make them better. After 1,500 articles, I started hiring writers. A few years later, I had 25,000 articles online. I didn't study it for 3 years. I wrote articles, hired people to write articles, and in 3 years, I heard things like I was the number 1 or number 2 article writer in the world. From scratch in about 3 years. Here's the question. What can you do in 3 years? The way God creates is to just do. It's the same thing for a smaller project. So one way would be to spend $2,000 and 10 weeks learning all the dots and bullets to make the perfect course. But trust me, here's a key secret. Your first course, no matter how perfect it is, will be obsolete once 100 people buy it and you decide you don't like it anymore and you decide to re-record it. Your first course isn't going to live on forever anyway. So what if instead of taking a 10-week program, you simply wrote an outline for your course, you downloaded recording software, you recorded 10 hours of training, you got simple course software online, you uploaded the lessons, and in 1 week, 20 hours of work, you have your first course. Get it done. Do like God. God just did. You can just do. God spoke and created. He had access to the atoms of the universe. You speak and create. You have access to the recording software on your computer or phone. You have access to upload your recordings to the web. You have access to social networks where you can ask 50 people a day, would you like to watch my videos? You have access to use the tools and creativeness in your world to create audiences on command, create training on command, get followers on command. Sometimes people ask me, well, what if people don't like my videos? What if they aren't good enough? Make them better. But if you never make the first one or the second one or the 100th one, how can you make better something that you haven't done? Guaranteed your 100th video is better than your first. How do you ever have a 100th video? Well, first, you have to make the first video and the second video and the 80th video and the 85th video and the 99th video. That's the part people don't like, so they can make their 201 to 300 even better. It's so much easier to buy a course and spend 10 weeks learning what to do than to actually do it. So they buy the course, they don't do the work. God just did the work. He spoke the universe into being. You can do the work. Speak your business into existence. Speak your course into existence. Speak your domain expertise existence. The only difference is that you have access to different tools than God. And it might take you a week to do a 20-hour project from scratch, what God can do in a second. But what is 20 hours compared to taking 6 months to do the same thing? You can accomplish amazing things in 20-hour blocks, but you have to choose. You have to work only on your biggest goal for the 20 hours. Put your phone down. Just focus. You have practically unlimited power to do nearly anything in 20 hours. Just do it. Create like God. He made you in His image. And if you can create almost anything in 20 focused hours, what if you stack those focus hours so every week for 20 hours you created almost anything? The end of 1 year, you had 50 units of 20 hours of creating almost anything. You can do 50 times almost anything. In 3 years, you can totally own your expertise or niche expertise domain. I totally believe that just about anyone can dominate their topic online in 3 years if they put their head down, if they find a way to absolutely be productive teaching and recording and interviewing for 20 totally focused hours. Who can you be in 3 years? In 3 years, you can completely rewrite your complete future. You can do it with God's guidance. You can do it with God's help. You can do what God has birthed in you to be great. Create like God. You hear it.